dating back to your earliest days with your wife, Susie. You said, I'm moving to New Zealand at some point. Why was it during COVID that you decided to pull the trigger?
I went to New Zealand for the first time in '94. I was on my way to the South Pole, and we wound up getting stuck there because the flights were grounded because of ice conditions. And I wound up exploring around the Christchurch area and just really fall in love with the country, the scenery, the people, just the kind of the way of life there. And I made myself a promise, I'm going to come live here someday. And when Susie and I were first getting serious, she said, fine, no problem. She was game. Now, later we have children, we have a family, we've got roots in, Malibu and Santa Barbara, that conversation, had to be amended slightly. But we did say, after Avatar, let's make this happen. We bought our farm in 2011, and we were spending a lot of time in New Zealand, going back and forth. And then we were shooting in New Zealand. We came back for Christmas, and then COVID hit, and we didn't get back down there. So then I had to move mountains to get our production unit back up and running in New Zealand. And we just decided at that point in time that it was time to make the move as a family. And so, everybody came down and joined me that August. So that would have been, 5 or 6 months after the pandemic hit. And New Zealand they had eliminated the virus completely. They actually eliminated the virus twice. The third time, when it showed up in a mutated form, it broke through. But fortunately, they already had a 98% vaccination rate. This is why I love New Zealand. People there are, for the most part, sane, as opposed to the United States, where you had a 62% vaccination rate, and that's going down, going the wrong direction. Are you kidding me? Where would you rather live?
Oh, right.
A place that actually believes in science and is sane, and where people can work together cohesively to a common goal, or a place where everybody's at each other's throats, extremely polarized, turning its back on science, and basically would be in utter disarray if another pandemic appears.
Well, look, United States is a fantastic place to live, but New Zealand is just stunningly beautiful.
I'm not there for the scenery. I'm there for the sanity.
So you have this 12,000 acre farm. What do you grow on the farm?
We specialize in organic vegetables, primarily brassicas, so broccoli, cauliflower, Romanesque, kale, things like that.
And largest in New Zealand.
We're the largest provider of organic brassicas, which is a very niche thing. We're certainly not the largest vegetable producer in New Zealand. They have big industrial farms that are not organic in New Zealand, are much larger than us. But in our niche, I think we're significant. We supply supermarkets and restaurants and that sort of thing, farm to table restaurants, that sort of thing.
Explain the change to regenerative agriculture.
Well, industrial agriculture does a lot of things that are harmful to the soil and to health, and the use of Roundup and Roundup Ready GMO crops and things like that. I don't personally have a problem with GMO per se, other than when you start to couple it with these chemical pesticides and herbicides into an integrated system, it's actually opening the door to a lot of chemistry that shouldn't be in our bodies. We approach it pretty scientifically. So like our choice to be 100% plant-based in diet, for me, is from a sustainability perspective. The amount of land use that's misused to grow animals instead of plant crops, we could rewild about a third of our agricultural land on the planet. It's a thought experiment. If everybody went 100% plant-based, we could live with a much smaller carbon footprint and much less impact on the environment, on indigenous habitat, on wildlife habitat. It would just be a way ton better for the natural world.
I know the movie Forks Over Knives, which I watched for the first time the other day, had a really big impact on you. Just to explain how veganism has changed your life.
Susie showed me Forks Over Knives. She basically said, honey, I need 90 minutes of your time. I'm like, baby, is that a trick question? Of course, whatever. So we went and watched the film. I already knew all the sustainability reasons why we should eat plant-based, but I had sort of rejected it. It was like, I'm a man, I need my meat, damn it. You know, we need animal protein. We are indoctrinated with that since the time we're born, essentially. It turns out you don't, and in fact, it's unhealthy. So, you know, when I saw Forks Over Knives, I went, wow, this is crazy. I need to do more research. So very quickly, within a few days, we said, all right, we're going 100% plant-based. And we did. And then I found this amazing surge of energy and healthfulness. That was in 2011, so it's been 14 years. And aside from getting COVID, I really just never get sick. I mean, I literally went for 10 years with nothing after having gone vegan. And then I was back running, and then I was running 5 miles on the beach barefoot, and all of a sudden I had this huge surge of energy. And that surge has lasted until now. You know, I still have tons of energy. And, you know, I love shooting, I love operating, all that stuff. So it's very physical. The way I approach production is not sitting back in Video Village. I'm out there, I'm moving set pieces around, I'm helping, you know, move the crane. You know, to me, it's a contact sport. Making a movie is a contact sport.